All right, now that we understand our concept of a digital resume and we now have the blueprint on how to devise your unique selling proposition, it's time to start nailing down our audience, getting really specific. So the exercise I'm going to teach you is called client avatar, or your ideal client, okay? So my suggestion is that you take notes and answer these questions, write a paragraph, and even put an image, put an actual image of who your ideal client is, because we talked about what type of content that we want to do, right? We want to educate, excite, and entertain. We know that makes great content, but when we're making the content, we want to make sure that we're speaking to this person. So everything you do, whether it's in your digital resume, your unique selling proposition, anything you create to put out to the public, we want to be sales oriented, right? We want to create more sales for ourselves. So how do we get somebody to put their hand up and say, hey, I'm kind of interested in what you're talking about? Well, we have to be talking about things that appeal directly to them. So that's what this exercise is going to teach you, okay? So make sure you write this down and even give a visual representation of what your client looks like. That's your avatar. Who are you talking to? It'll make a lot more sense and it'll give a lot of clarity to when you're creating content. So we have 10 questions we're going to ask ourselves about our ideal client. And now remember, your ideal client could be different from somebody else's. It could be similar, but you want to make sure is that it's your ideal client, not anybody else's. So who you want to serve. Where do they hang out, right? Everyone knows the term location, location, location in real estate. It's time to get really clear at what is your person who you want to help serve and help sell real estate. What do they do? Where do they go? Who do they hang out with and where? Because that's where you need to have a presence, whether that's digitally or physically. Where do they get their info? So are they getting their info from real estate blogs? Are they finding it on Facebook? Are they getting letters sent to their door? Are they getting direct email? Where are they consuming information that you want to present to them? Because that's the platform we need to be on. Biggest frustrations and challenges. So think about somebody who has maybe, say your ideal client is someone who sold their home or put their home on the market and then it didn't sell, right? So an expired or canceled listing. That's your ideal client you're going after. Well, what are the challenges that they're facing at this point and what are they frustrated about? You need to be speaking to those feelings exactly. What are their hopes, dreams, and desires, right? Ultimately, everyone wants to be happy, and their hopes, their dreams, and their desires all are to get to that end destination. So let's talk about their happiness and what do they want to accomplish in their life? What are they trying to do? What does that move from house A to house B? What does that mean for them? What type of step is that in their life? It's time to get very specific about that. Biggest fears. What are they scared of? A lot of people want to do something. They're thinking about it, but there's something that's holding them back that they're unsure about or fearful of. What is it? Time to get very specific. Preferred forms of communication. So is your ideal client someone who's working throughout the day and is really good with email or responds better through text messages? Maybe they're an older clientele and they're just good old take the phone call and handle business that way. Think about who you're serving. You're serving a younger population. Text message and social media is probably going to be a better route to go. So think about that and how you're going to communicate with your ideal client. Phrases, exact language, and vernacular. Who is your person? What's their background? How do they speak? What makes sense to them? You know, are they an educated, C-level executive, or are they a first-time home buyer? Because the language you're going to use is going to definitely be different, but get specific about it. A day in the life. What does their day and weekends look like? What do they do? Where do they go? What information they consume? Where do they work at? Think about where are the areas that you could create a presence based on what they're already doing. We don't need them to change their behavior. We want to adapt to their behavior. Emotional states they might be going through. This is very powerful. Think about this. Maybe somebody wants to move out of state. Maybe they're done with the city or they got a new job offer. what emotions are they going through, right? Or maybe somebody wants to buy a vacation home. What are they thinking about? Are they happy? Are they looking forward to the future? Are they energetic? Are they motivated? Or are they frustrated? Are they sad? Are they a little unsure? Maybe they're misinformed. Label at least 5 emotions that your ideal client is going through and list them out and make sure you're speaking to those emotions. Because remember, we want to speak to the emotions. That's how you're going to sell. And ultimately, and probably the most important, so it's last but certainly not least, is what makes them happy? What's the end goal for them? How are we going to help them get there? So you remember with our silver bullet presentation, we talk about identifying the heartache, the help, and the happily ever after. What does the happily ever after look like for your ideal client? So let's recap. That was a lot. Go through these questions and write a paragraph describing who the person is. You don't have to be extremely specific, but you do want to answer these questions each to the best of your ability. And then create a visual representation. And then remember, anytime you're putting out content, you want to make sure you're speaking directly to your ideal client avatar.